All right, this is going to be a happy video, and Lord knows we need it because as the riots go on in California and New York, and they're burning cars in California and running around in the streets, and National Guard is called out, as all that happens with the crazy leftists in places like New York and California, there's good news. And the good news is more and more people are turning towards God, Christianity, and particularly the Catholic Church. Watch this.
Well, more Americans are turning to Catholicism, with the National Catholic Register saying, quote, certain dioceses are reporting increases of 30%, 40%, even 50%, even more than some, even 70% when it comes to converts last year. So what is making Catholicism cool again? Gen Z influencer Isabel Brown, the host of the Isabel Brown Show, joins us now. Isabel, this is such a fascinating topic. The Free Press also had an article last week come out about why is Catholicism cool again? What is happening specifically with Gen Z?
Those numbers are significant. We're not talking about, 10%, 15%. Those numbers are significant. And by the way, we'll put the chart up again too. But by the way, we're not just seeing it in the data there. We're not just seeing it at church. We're seeing it at colleges. More and more stories, whether it's on YouTube or in the media, about fraternities having baptismal parties. And who would have thought we would have seen that? I certainly didn't see that coming. So it's really good news to see that people are turning back to God and church and Christianity and the Catholic Church. And the question is, who's leading that charge back to God? Watch this.
Great point, Rachel. This is a cultural revolution largely led by young people. And to see headlines come out last week that what makes Catholicism cool is trending in America is a very fascinating moment in our culture, because it just goes to show that God's not done with American culture yet. Throughout my lifetime, really, America has culturally become one of the biggest exports of cultural degeneracy around the world, particularly in the West. You watch the degradation of marriage, the normalization of transitioning children, abortion by the millions for the most vulnerable in our society over the past several decades. And in the midst of this darkness, we're watching young people run back towards God, not even towards rainbow washed, half in, half out cultural Christianity, like I think we've seen throughout the last several years, but tradition with a capital T, preferring the traditional Latin Mass, wanting the Eucharist, and reviving the Christianity that the world has known for 2,000 years as we continue to transform our culture in America from the inside out, bringing God back to the world again.
So what is it specifically about Catholicism? You're right. There's like there's the very traditional form of Catholicism, the liturgy, as you talked about, the traditional Latin Mass, the devotions, the rules and strictures around Catholicism. What is it specifically about that is attracting young people? Is it the aestheticism? Is it that, they can trace it back to St. Peter and there's sort of a lot of history and ritual around it? What is it? Because it seems to be especially men.
It is largely led by young men, and there's so many reasons contributing to this revival of coolness in Catholicism again.
Now, isn't that fascinating? And I got to admit, I didn't see it coming. I certainly felt it, but I didn't see it coming the way it has. Here's my theory, and I'm going to try to keep this positive, in line with a positive video. As you know, for decades now, and I mean plural, men have been made out to be the boogeyman. The problem is the old white men, emphasis on men. Young men have been taught in school, in the media, that they're the problem, they're toxic, the toxic male. We have heard that for decades. It's been going on and on. We see it in commercials. I did a video the other day, and every time you turn the TV on, I can't help but see it. There's a commercial with a couple, and the man doesn't know where to put the ketchup, which is typical. He doesn't know where to put the ketchup, and thank goodness the woman in his life can correct him and tell him where he's supposed to put the ketchup, the bloody ketchup. Who cares where the ketchup goes? I mean, most men out there are going to, you open the ketchup and you put it in the fridge. But the point is, men are still to this day being made out to be the fool. And I think after decades of this, men who are programmed to look for somebody to have a relationship got tired of looking for it in women who have bought into this whole anti-male thing. But full Monty, they completely bought into it to the point where it's difficult for men to have a relationship. And who wants to have a relationship with these women? Because they're constantly down on them. And men, like I said, are programmed to have a relationship, and they're turning towards God, Christianity, the church, the Catholic Church, which is absolutely fantastic. Let's keep on going with the video. Here you go.
We have an American Pope. You're watching the #1 app on the App Store be a Catholic prayer app, Hallow, over the past several months. Celebrities are sharing their experience going to Mass on social media. But I think what this really boils down to is a level of relationship and intimacy with Jesus offered through the Holy Eucharist that is unfound anywhere else in Christianity around the world. You're looking at an opportunity not just to talk to Jesus through prayer, not just to have a personal relationship with him in reading Scripture, but to intimately touch him through his body and blood every Sunday. That is a sense of relationship that you can't find anywhere else. And young people are realizing the depth and the substance of traditional Christianity through Catholicism that's often been missing in our culture for the last several decades.
Yeah, it's interesting, too, that it seems to also be a response to sort of the vapidness and the lack of authenticity of so much that is happening virtually in their lives, on their phones, these fake relationships online. And is it a response to AI and social media?
Being able to touch something and have that tangible experience is certainly contributing. I attend a beautiful Catholic parish here in Alexandria, Virginia, and every single Mass is bursting at the seams with standing room only. But I also think it's a response to the lack of authenticity that we're finding in American churches throughout my lifetime. When you see churches go viral on social media for reciting the Sparkle Creed on Sunday morning, praising the non-binary God, which, yes, is a real thing, instead of the Nicene Creed, when you're seeing BLM flags celebrating cultural Marxism flown outside of Episcopal churches all over the country, it's causing people to stop and think, is this really what the substance of my faith, the authenticity of my faith, and a true relationship with God is supposed to be about? I don't think so. And what the Catholic Church offers to young people is not a chance for the church to become more like our broken secular culture, but rather us to transform ourselves and our culture to transform itself in running back to God again, to revive what is good and true and beautiful.
Well, thank you, Isabel. We love the good news that you're bringing us this Sunday morning, and you broke it down beautifully. Thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Let me know down in the comments below what you think about that. If you're, I'm trying so hard to be positive. Men out there, are you turning back towards church? And if so, why? And how long has the process taken you to get there? For the women out there, are you seeing this trend in men? And I see the videos with the women, and you see it on TV too. Women are just having a hard time finding men. You know, you go to the bar and the men don't want to talk to them. It's not because the men are becoming gay. It's just the men don't want to talk to the women. So ladies, let me know if you've seen this happen as well. And I guess ladies, are you going to go back to church too, go back to God, or no? I mean, this is a really interesting trend, and it's starting with the young men leading the way back. So it's going to be fascinating to see how this pans out over time. And let me know in the comments down below how you think this is going to affect marriage and people staying married longer. If men are going back to church and they do find the right partner. And there are plenty of really good women out there. I'm not dogging women. There are a lot of good ones out there. I guess my thought is, as men go back to church, find the right partner, will they stay married longer? Of course, it's going to take some time to see that data. But let me know in the comments down below what you think about that as well. Stay married longer, have more kids, are these couples going to get married younger? Will we see that trend? Because now people are waiting to get married. Will they get married younger? Will they have more kids? Let me know what you think in the comments down below. And as always, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. Subscribe to see more, like it, share it with somebody you might think is interested in it. And as always, until next time, God bless. Love you all.